Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another thing where I talk about things. Today, we're going to be talking about some hurdles for us going forward. I was originally going to release a video on Christmas, where I actually talked about this and a couple of other things, but decided it wasn't festive enough, it wasn't appropriate, everyone should just have a fun time on Christmas, not worry about work, not worry about all that garbage. Still the Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to those of you who I hope had a happy holiday. I hope things were fun and that you guys did some interesting stuff. I got a chair for Christmas, and I didn't think that would be all that great. I didn't realize I needed it. My girlfriend Claudia was asking, like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think I really need anything. And what I've been doing is for years now, I would sit down on this wooden chair that I had, and I would just work, like for however long that I was going to sit and work, I was just sitting in this wooden chair. And I just got used to that and didn't think anything of it. Like, I was just like, yeah, this is what I do. This is my daily routine. And then Claudia bought me like a nice office chair. And I realized now I needed a nice office chair. Wow. So this was one of those things, like I just gotten used to the abuse and the suffering, and now I have a nice chair. So, yeah, I also got a cheese grater. Good Christmas. So, yes. Anyway, though, like we still got the next holiday coming up, the New Year, and on the New Year, like that's about when we plan to start rolling with our new things. And so I wanted to talk about that and what we're doing, so you guys are in touch with the situation. I've got the new vlog channel opened up. I've got a link to that down below in the description, so if you want to subscribe to that. We're going to eventually migrate these vlogs over to that channel. We're going to stop posting them here. Same thing for the Let's Plays. I've got the Let's Plays, I've got the Let's Play channel, and I'll start linking that in the Let's Plays. But as far as what to think about going forward, we've gotten a lot of emails from people. I've had some back and forth actually with a few people, some of them with different sources of information. One that was interesting was one guy was receiving a questionnaire about the effectiveness of the YouTube algorithm and whether or not it was recommending videos he wanted to see. We've just had a lot of talk back and forth, different creators, different people who are interested in online media about what's happening and why we're seeing certain channels just essentially die. MatPat did a video, like a lot of people were talking about MatPat. He does this game theory stuff, where he kind of went into some of his explanations for why things are going the way that they are. He's got some useful perspectives. A lot of it is based on the way that things were going previously with the previous algorithm. Frederator did a bunch of testing with the algorithm, they gathered a lot of statistical data and stuff like that on how it worked. But MatPat did an interesting thing. Or I should say he did a very stupid thing, where at the end of his video he was like, the people to blame is not YouTube, and I guess maybe he's just like sucking dick. I don't know exactly why he did this, but he's like, oh, it's not YouTube who's the problem, it's the viewers, it's you guys. And that is so monumentally stupid, because what he's essentially describing, or what he described, was a problem called the tragedy of the commons, which is an economic conundrum where you have a bunch of people are destroying a resource that you have. The way it works, the simplified version of it is like, suppose you have a bunch of people who own livestock, and I can't remember if it's like sheep or cows or whatever that eats the most grass, but like let's suppose that cows eat more grass. They eat a ton of grass, but they're worth more money to the herders. And then sheep eat less grass, but they're not worth as much money. Like sheep are sheep, you don't really want sheep. I think it might go the other direction. I can't remember which animal it was. But anyway, though. So the way it works is that there's not really any laws, but everybody knows that if everybody grazes with cows, they will wipe out the communal grazing area that everybody have. They have a common grazing area that everybody has access to. And so like everybody kind of agrees, like, all right, we're just going to do sheep. And so everybody does sheep, except for Gerald, that one dickhole who comes out with cows every day. And everyone kind of wants Gerald to suffer, because Gerald is breaking the rules. But the fact is that because Gerald is grazing with cows, and cows are worth more money, Gerald is getting a reward for breaking the rules. So Gerald comes out and he grazes with cows, and it's a little bit harder on the common grazing area, but it's not too bad, just him by himself. And so then Mike looks at Gerald and says, well, like if Gerald is going to break the rules, And he just gets away with it, and not only that, he gets a reward, he gets more money. Like, I'm gonna graze with cows. So now Mike and Gerald are both grazing with cows, and then pretty soon, like, Sam looks at it, he says the same thing. You know what, like, forget sheep. Like, sheep are a lot of work. Like, cows are way easier, they bring in way more money, and then they start doing that. And pretty soon, everybody in the commons is grazing with cows. Or enough people are grazing with cows that effectively they overgraze and they wipe out the common grazing area, and then no one can survive because they've used up all of their resources by essentially overexploiting it. This is the tragedy of the commons. How this works on YouTube is effectively you've got like the clickbait, you've got just all this garbage that people are doing to try and get noticed on YouTube. Like, one of the top 500 channels is just this ridiculous channel of this guy who dresses up as Spider-Man, and his wife dresses up as, like, Elsa from Frozen. And they're called, like, Spider-Man Elsa Frozen Adventures, something like that. And they're just using a bunch of keywords that the search engine algorithm really likes. And then their videos are long. Or there are people who, like, play with toys, you know, action figures and stuff like that. And they call themselves, you know, like, Marvel Comics Superheroes Action Figure Channel, whatever, And they use a bunch of keywords that the SEO really likes. So they're releasing these videos, and they're very trashy videos, but then, you know, like every time you look up Marvel, Frozen, Elsa, whatever, YouTube doesn't look for, like, other videos, like they don't look for anything else about these things. They look for, like, oh, what's the most popular, and they direct you to that. They pull viewers away and put them on, you know, Frozen, Elsa, whatever, because it's a thing that it really likes. That's like crack for the YouTube SEO. Or you get a lot of people who are looking at, like, Let's Plays or things like that, like the kind of stuff that made PewDiePie huge. You get guys like Game Grumps, you know, like the guy who runs Game Grumps, Aaron, he used to be an animator. He went by Ego Raptor. You can still find his animations online, but that's like an old defunct channel now. His current main thing that he does is Game Grumps. And he you know, he did that because Game Grumps became more financially viable, because that's what YouTube switched over to. And so everybody else is, like, you're seeing a lot of different animators and stuff like that. Like when I mentioned that I was doing Let's Plays to the Twitch rep that I was talking to a little while ago, she just kind of, like, I just feel like there was a little bit of, she just kind of crestfallen. She was just like, oh, you know, like, because a lot of animators do that, is they'll try to kind of get into the content that they see as working. And effectively what it is like, you know, you'll be someone and you're struggling, you're working really hard to try and make, like, really good content. You know, you're essentially grazing sheep, and you're looking after the sheep, and it's really hard work. And then you look over here at, like, Ego Raptor, and Ego Raptor's moved over to cows. You know, and you see that you know, Game Grumps, by grazing cows, by grazing cattle, they're doing really well, economically speaking. And you kind of look at your sheep, and you go, well, like, I don't know, I'm just going to graze cows as well. And a lot of YouTube is doing this, and you find that, like, the most popular YouTubers are all very, I mean, when you get right down to it, they're very homogenous. Like, everybody kind of has their individual personality, but, like, you know, there really shouldn't be thousands of Let's Play channels. Like, it should be a thing that's out there. I mean, like, you should go look up games and be like, oh, you know, yeah, here's the game in action or whatever. Like, I believe that there should be Let's Plays for, like, more obscure titles, you know, game reviews should be a thing. But it shouldn't be like one of those things that, like, everybody is doing because everybody sees that and thinks of that as cattle versus their sheep, you know? So you've got this tragedy of the commons where YouTube is paying out more for cattle, and then everyone with sheep kind of just, you know, abandon sheep and then go over to cattle. And it makes the platform kind of sucky because there's not really anything cool being made anymore. Everybody's kind of moving towards the same homogenous crap, or the clickbait, or the SEO stuff. And the reason why I think MatPat is stupid and just, you know, sucking YouTube dick with that analysis is that if you think about it, like cattle are your source of revenue in the tragedy of the commons situation, but viewers are your source of revenue on YouTube. So, like, to blame the viewers for the way that like, you know, certain content is more valuable or certain content does better. It's like blaming, you know, the cattle or like, you know, for, like, grazing too much and saying, like, oh, the cows need to graze less. And it's kind of like, no, I mean, like, it's great that you guys are on the, like, it's good that you're on YouTube and that you're clicking on stuff that attracts your attention. Like, that's the entire point. You know, it's like the cattle are supposed to graze and produce milk or whatever. Like, you don't get mad at the cattle for doing what, like, cattle do. And I don't mean to compare you guys to livestock. I apologize if that sounds offensive. I'm just following the analogy. But it's incredibly stupid. Just so monumentally stupid to blame the cattle and act like the cattle are the problem in the tragedy of the commons. It's also a little bit stupid to blame the herders, because that's the problem you get with the tragedy of the commons is that all the herders see that cheating and grazing cattle is more profitable, so the natural inclination is to try and get more profit, and then to graze cattle, even though it's bad for the overall common area. So what you actually normally do to prevent a tragedy of the commons is you get a higher authority to step in and somehow make it less appealing to break the rules, or to even just make it illegal to break the rules in the first place. So it really is because of YouTube. This is the thing, is they're the higher authority that controls how traffic on the platform flows. So if they're encouraging everybody to switch over to like dull homogeneous videos that can be pumped out like as fast as possible, every day, 20 minutes in length, whatever, like they're the ones who are making that happen. They actually need to step in and they need to make some changes so that there's incentive to do something besides that kind of garbage entertainment. Not necessarily garbage, but it's just like a lower tier of entertainment. It doesn't take very long to do, and if it takes you less than a day to complete a project, and you're doing it every day, like it's really hard to be funny and creative consistently. Like you need a team to be able to do that, and even some of the bigger YouTubers can really only afford a team of 3 guys or whatever. So it's not that, I don't know. It's just not really that great of content. So yeah. So Matt Pat's assessment that the people need to be more aware is A, stupid, B, never really gonna work. It's totally unrealistic. You can't even blame content creators either for the system getting as crappy as it is. Like the more that content creators see that clickbait works, and the more they see that these crappy just vomitous videos works. Like you see people doing reaction channels and making 6 figures a year on reaction channels. Well, of course you're going to get a lot of reaction channels that are going to spring up. Of course you're going to get a lot of clickbait. It's just going to naturally occur. That's the tragedy that comes. So, anyway, that said, that means that we can't just stupidly sit around and say well, you guys, the viewers, need to do this. You guys, the viewers, have power, but it's in a more oblique way than the way that he puts it. Essentially, the way you guys have power is that by supporting creators that you really like if you find somebody and you find their content is interesting, your support is a big deal. I mean, back when I first got started, I remember posting, and I would post requests for advice and things like that on how to make the videos better. And I was just getting started, and so people just being oh, do this and do that. The music is too loud. Adjust this, I like this, I didn't like that. That was insanely helpful. That was a big leg up from people that were watching my content and thought it had potential and wanted to see me get further along. So, I mean, the way that you guys help is important and profound. I mean, there's the financial support and everything else, but it's much more complex and involved than the way that Pat kind of wants to put it. And, yeah. But as far as working within the YouTube system, we've got some major hurdles going forward, and with all the thinking that I've done about this and all the research that we've been doing into it, I'm concluding at this point that we are likely going, we're going to release the Peyton thing, and it's going to be regular, it's going to be fun, I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to fail viewership-wise. And I can pretty much say this without much fear of being wrong, because looking at everything that YouTube likes, there's absolutely no reason why the Peyton videos should succeed. The reason being because what YouTube is looking for, first of all, is it's looking for SEO, or maybe not first of all, but it's a high-tier thing that it's looking for. When you watch a video, before it recommends something, it looks for other videos that are similar to that. So you make a video, you make a review of, say, Powerpuff Girls, and then YouTube will recommend other things that have to do with Powerpuff Girls and stuff like that. This is one reason why we're seeing a major drop-off. Pat is probably right about this. If you look at other channels that dropped off, you're seeing Game Grumps, they do their various games, and then the YouTube algorithm will recommend people oh, did you like Call of Duty or whatever? I don't think they ever did Call of Duty, or, Sonic, you like Sonic 06, they definitely did Sonic 06. If you like Sonic jokes, then why don't you go check out Game Grumps, and it'll recommend them, it'll throw them over there. But they've been doing, Solitaire recently. There's no SEO on Solitaire. Nobody looks up Solitaire on the internet. So, you look at those, and all the Solitaire videos are doing really badly. Because YouTube doesn't recommend anyone go watch their Solitaire videos. Even if you really like Game Grumps and you like their sense of humor, YouTube does not care. YouTube does not want you to watch Solitaire. You don't have any interest in Solitaire. They've got no data on you watching Solitaire. They don't have data on anybody watching Solitaire. So they just ignore those videos. As far as the SEO is concerned, they don't exist, and they're always going to perform terribly. So that right there is a huge knock. It's gonna pretty much brain the Peyton series right off the bat. Where we're going to release it, and the YouTube SEO is going to be like, well, I don't know who'd want to see this, and it just won't recommend it to anybody. Nobody's going to see it except for you guys who actually tune into our stuff pretty regularly. The second thing that you get is that it tends to look, on that same line, it'll look for content that's been seen before. So like if you have things in a series, it's trying to link keywords. Like Peyton doesn't really have any backlog built up, so there's not really anything, like it won't be like, oh, look at her previous episode or look at the future. It'll take a while. This can be remedied by just releasing numerous Peyton episodes, and if enough people are watching them, then it might recommend all the Peyton episodes. But until there's a bunch of Peyton episodes, then we won't get anything. We won't get anything for that. I mean, that's like the main issue that we're gonna have with Peyton, and so. What I'm thinking that we're going to do, I mean, like, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do Peyton anyway. But a good way that you guys can help is going back to that whole thing. I need to just I'm going to have to just sort of relax and accept that maybe viewership isn't going to be reflective of whether or not the product is of any quality. So if you guys dislike the video or you want to see some things change about it, if you feel like it's going to come out and it's kind of experimental, it'll be the first thing. Just pitch in, tell me what you disliked about it, or what if you like stuff, like things that I can change and improve on. Constructive criticism will be exceptionally valuable. And we'll go through and we'll just work on making it be a better and better series to be entertaining. Like I said, that said, there's not going to be any natural promotion for it. So the thing that we have to do aside from that is figure out how to get more eyes on it. Like I said, we're going to be posting on like Newgrounds. Somebody pointed out that DeviantArt accepts video, and so I submitted some stuff to DeviantArt. I submitted a request to DeviantArt to put my stuff up. They'd never responded back, or haven't yet. I don't know that DeviantArt is going to be worth it, really. Especially if they take forever to get back to me, and they're just like, gee, I don't know, like, we don't really want the publicity. I don't think we want any kind of, like, original video content. We're gonna be doing that. But yes, promotion is going to be a big problem, trying to generate promotion when YouTube absolutely won't. The J-Comics thing is going to be the same deal, is that J-Comics are all self-contained jokes, and they're like going to be pretty quick to put out, they're going to be like fun. We're thinking that we'll claim those because they're fairly quick. This is odd. This is one of these things where we kind of look at this and we're like, oh, an animation that we can do within like a day of work. Wow, like that shouldn't go on Patreon. But I don't know, it's weird. Like, we were just talking about that, and like as animators we were like, that's not a whole lot of work, we should only claim that once a month. So currently the plan is to claim the J cartoons like once a month, and I guess keep doing things normally where we claim stuff on Patreon, and I don't know, it's weird. Like when something feels like it's not as much work as you would normally put in, you feel inclined to be like, well, I don't know. But anyway, though, J-Comics are going to be the same. They're self-contained, they're jokes, they're fun. They're like, we like J-Comics, we like the J-Cartoons. But again, there's no SEO on that. No one knows what it is. YouTube's not going to recommend it. Oh yeah, that's right. We're also going to get the subscriber burn problem, where people are not going to know what the content is, and they're not going to click on it, and then therefore YouTube is going to stop notifying them of our updates on anything. It won't tell you when we release. Like if you're just here for the pony stuff, it won't tell you when we release the pony stuff. It'll tell you, it'll just phase you out. Like you won't get emails, you won't get anything. So yeah, we're going to get the subscriber burn from Peyton. We're going to get the subscriber burn from J-Comics. We're going to get subscriber burn from releasing mass even, because there are people that watch our channel for stuff aside from the pony thing. So this is kind of the problem that we have, is we've got a lot of diverse content. And when you're creative, like when you're a channel, like an animation channel is open to do just about anything, you're not likely to work on the same series indefinitely or all the time. If you're doing parodies, you're going to do parodies of different things. This was one thing we saw, like with TRY. I mentioned that he got this huge bump from the Rick and Morty thing, and then we watched as like his viewership dropped off right back to its normal value after that huge bump. And when we figured out what that is, it's that he doesn't have any other Rick and Morty content. So therefore, YouTube doesn't recommend anyone go look at any of his other videos. It directed everybody away to other Rick and Morty videos. So there was basically no stick whatsoever. So I mean, at this point, like, we could go viral. We could release like a, you know, some kind of parody or something like that, and it could just be the funniest thing in the world, and YouTube would not recommend that anyone watch any of the rest of our content. So this is what it feels like. I think that YouTube is they're getting away from promoting channels and brands and stuff like that. They're not really trying to grow creators anymore. They're just trying to maximize their revenue, and that means that effectively, unless you're producing the same content consistently without any variance, you're really not going to do well on the platform. So we're going to continue to do poorly, for sure. At least as far as the SEO thing goes. Which is why we're going to take a lot of legwork, and we're going to have to start kind of really moving on our own. But this is interesting, and while that sounds bleak, on the bright side, that means that if we grow from this point forward, like, most of our growth is likely just going to be, you know, from outside forces, from like you guys who are watching us, supporting our stuff, just from like us doing that kind of heavy lifting. Like, everything that we do at this point belongs to us. It's going to be like, you guys who helped build it, and us, like, we made it, you helped promote it, like, we're gonna try to promote it, like, it's gonna be everyone's heavy lifting, and this will be pretty much how we maintain the channel. If we're gonna keep it going, then it's gonna be through a lot of hard work and love. So yes, that's what we're looking at. There's not going to be any organic support from YouTube whatsoever, and in fact, they're kind of going to be a bit of a detriment to us, because every time somebody watches a video, they're going to recommend that you click away to someone else's channel and not stay on my channel. So big pain in the ass, but that's how it is. That's how we got to work. And until somebody else comes along who's willing to promote just, you know, people based on their sense of humor or something like that again, you know, you're not going to see that. Yeah. But like I said, that said, one last thing I wanted to bring up. I was originally, someone asked, like, if I was putting out a lot of the Let's Plays because I was going to can the series and try to get it off the channel. And not initially, no, actually. I just realized that, like, that poor series has been going on for so long, and it really should be done by now. And so I just said to myself, like, I'm going to do as many videos this month as possible of that Let's Play, and I'm going to get to the end, darn it. And then finally we'll have Defiance all wrapped up, and I was thinking about starting another game called Shadow Hearts. And this is another funny thing, is that if you look at the Let's Plays that I've done, it's also not a wonder that we never really became, like, a big gaming channel, because, I mean, like, you know, Fallout maybe, but I played Fallout years after its release. And then there was Skyrim, but again, playing that years after its release, after a bunch of people have already gotten big, and they've established their you know, their niche or whatever. Like, I was playing games that are, like, older, and then I went on to play games like Soul Reaver and Defiance, which have these, like, very small but dedicated audiences. None of that stuff was, like, good SEO bait. Like, the SEO doesn't care about that stuff, and I wanted to go on to, like, Shadow Hearts because it's obscure or more obscure, and I love it to death, and I wanted other people to see it. You know, I feel like I wanted to share this game, but definitely it won't be promoted to anyone. No, like, I was trying to look online. I was like, oh, who's done anything Shadow Hearts? And, like, nothing comes up. And I was like, awesome, yes. Like, the world needs to know about Shadow Hearts. And probably what's going to happen is that no one will hear about Shadow Hearts. I could release the videos, and I still really want to at this point. Like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I kind of really want to do it. But no one's going to know. I'm just going to release it, and it's like, if you like my Let's Plays, you guys will be the only ones who see that. And well, you know, that'll just be how it is. But anyway, though, that's kind of the bottom line, is at the end you just have to say, well, that's how it is. You can't sit around and try to, like, you can't motivate thousands of people to try to change their human nature or whatever, like MatPat tried to get people to do. You can't get all the content creators to change their basic human nature. That's also stupid. Some of us are going to hang in there. Like, I'm going to continue to try to produce content that I want. I'm going to keep grazing my sheep, because I know that sheep is good for the commons, darn it, and this is why people even started watching YouTube in the first place, because you came for the sheep, you didn't come for the cows, you didn't come for the disgusting clickbait for the most part. You came because there was a bunch of, like, weird and interesting stuff on YouTube. Like, all the big viral videos were things like, you know, like cute animals doing weird things, like songs, like I remember watching a bunch of, like, special effects guys posting their portfolios, like, just cool things. You know, cool things that don't get promoted anymore, because now people fill their bathtub full of Orbeez, and that's fast and cheap, and you could do it every day. That's garbage. That's grazing cattle. You could do sheep. But grazing the sheep's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard. So, yes, yeah. Anyway, I guess that's enough. I was actually going to talk. I kind of want to talk about a couple of different things. I have a new topic now. I recently saw a movie that's very weird, but like I say, I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 more vlogs, and then I'll just start moving them. I'll just start putting them all over on the website or the other vlog channel. So if you want to follow the vlog still, subscribe to that other channel. That's where they're all going to be soon. We're just going to kind of put an end to the stuff here. And they'll all be over there. I suspect that we're going to have a little bit of trouble with migration. We won't get a whole lot of viewership, but you know, I mean, it'll probably cause the channel to bleed out a little bit less. So, steps being taken, things being done. We're going to get restructured. We're going to get moving. We're not going to have any flashbang successes, but we're definitely going to, you know, continue working. And as far as our improvement goes, that's really the main thing. Like, for those of you guys who are dedicated, sticking with us, watching all our stuff, like I say, if you like something, if you dislike something, if you feel like something needs to be improved, voice your opinion, because the quality of the content is now, like, the most important thing, rather than whether or not it tickles, you know, the SEO butthole, because the SEO butthole is just garbage and smells awful, and why, like, I don't know, it's insane to build an entire channel around that when all it wants is just the worst possible content. So, yeah, or at least the laziest possible content. So, yes, that's where we're going forward. That's how things are. I got the Peyton rigs done, or the Peyton rig is completed. We're ready to start. I've got like a third of the script done and voice acted. Peyton blows out my voice, shrieky and terrible. 15 minutes of Peyton is hard, or 12 minutes of Peyton is hard. We got a couple of J cartoons done, and we got some other stuff in the pipeline. And, yeah, I don't know. We're going to have some exciting stuff coming up. Mass is going to come out still January. I've been posting stuff on the Tumblr and the Twitter. So be excited about what's to come. I intend for it to be a lot of fun. Lots of hard work ahead of us, but, darn it, we're going to do good. So, yes. So that's it, I suppose. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I will catch you all next time.